Am I the asshole for not buying my boyfriend another birthday gift after he rejected the original present? I'm 25 and I have been with my boyfriend for over 3 years. His birthday was last week. Him and I are not into the same music, so we don't go to many shows together, but when we have gone together, it has been very fun. My boyfriend loves bands. I don't really know how else to put it. He listens to a lot of rock music from these bands I've never heard of. Imagine Dragons are coming to our city this summer. I know who they are and I know they're a band, so I figured this would be an awesome present for my boyfriend. I got us the tickets and was very excited. My excitement was short lived. It turned into sadness very soon. Here is a summary of how the gift exchange went down. I bought him some other smaller things but put the ticket confirmation in an envelope with the card I made for him. He opens the envelope and I'm met with the, what? I explained to him that they're coming to town and I thought it would be a lot of fun to go together and that I want to get more into the music he likes. Then he responds, "This is not the music I like. Just because a band has instruments doesn't mean it's what I like." I'm honestly very sad at this point, and I asked him if he really wouldn't have fun. He says, "Honestly, you should just try to get your money back. I don't want to go to this." I say, "Okay," as I'm literally holding back tears. He then says that I could try to resell the tickets. He goes on his phone and Googles concerts in the area around that day and says we could go to one of these shows instead. I snapped at him. I said I really tried to do something I thought he'd like and that it's extremely hurtful the way he responds. He says, "We have been dating for 3 years. How did you not know that I don't like that music? I wouldn't get you tickets to the Travis Scott concert for your birthday because I am well aware you hate rap. You should have known I wouldn't like this." At that point, I've actually started crying. I just said I wanted to do something together and he didn't have to be so mean. He tried to take back everything he said and he was like, "We can go. I'm sure it will be fun." I told him, "Fuck no. I know how he really feels." He is now upset, saying that it's basically like I got him nothing for his birthday since I won't resell the tickets to get different tickets and then I won't suck it up and go with him after he made it very clear how he feels. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for helping my brother run away from his wedding? I have two older brothers. This is about the middle one. Our parents divorced when I was very young due to our mother's insane jealousy. She quickly rebounded with a guy with two kids and had shared custody for a while. But when my dad got remarried, she went crazy, calling his new wife every horrible name and claiming he was cheating on her while they were married. I was always closer to my brothers and my dad rather than my mom because she was always very mean to me. Long story short, my stepmom died in a bad car accident, and my dad called her in the middle of the night, letting her know that he would pick us up earlier so we could attend the funeral, and she decided to take us on a fun trip to celebrate something. It was the happiest we've ever seen her, and when we realized what happened and started crying, she told us only worthless people cry for whores. Needless to say, things went nuclear, and my dad asked for full custody with visitation for her. He always left the line of communication open and paid for us to visit her when she moved away, but it was still very bad, and as soon as we turned 18, we started to lower contact with her. The last time we saw her was on my high school graduation, where she made a point of letting everyone who would hear that we were ungrateful kids, and her husband at the time would call us bad names too. We've been no contact since then. My brother Sam started dating his ex 3 years ago. She had heard all of the stories and the reasons we are no contact, but she believes we are just dramatic. Oh, I see where this is going. They had many issues due to her opinions, but she eventually seemed to drop the "you need to reconcile with your mother" crusade. During the wedding planning, there was no indication of things going wrong or fishy. Then we got to the church, and lo and behold, mom, husband, and two kids were sitting up front. I immediately panicked and called my brothers. Sam thought maybe somehow she found out and wanted to crash, so he called his ex to let her know of the potential drama, but she told him it was fine since she invited them. Sam hung up and asked me to go get him while oldest brother dealt with things at the church. We went home and barricaded ourselves there, even with his ex, her family, friends, etc. came to try and make sense with him. My mom's husband even called and said he always knew we were worthless. Now that the dust has settled, most of Sam's friends are on his side and so is most of our dad's family. His ex's parents already threatened to sue for the money they paid if he doesn't marry her, but Sam says he'd rather pay them back for the contribution than marry someone that betrayed him. My nuclear family 100% supports Sam, but the backlash has been huge. I asked my brother Joe about the church aftermath, and it was just as I expected it. He says he stood up in front of everybody and told them Sam was not coming back and please go home, and all of the gifts delivered to our side of the family will be given back ASAP. The ex was still outside the church when someone in her family informed her, and she started screaming and crying and calling Sam nonstop. Am I the asshole for demanding my fiance to stop teaching our kids bad manners? My fiance Lola and I have been together for 5 years, engaged for a little over a year, and we have twins, a boy and girl, 2.5 years old. Our wedding is in 2 months. Lola usually takes care of feeding the kids in the morning since I work early, and so I never noticed this until recently. I took a week vacation from work to just spend time at home with my kids and Lola and started to notice something that bothered me. Lola has been teaching our kids bad table manners and sees nothing wrong with it. I haven't noticed this before as they don't eat this type of food for lunch, dinner, snacks, or eat it all the time, so I guess I just missed it as I wasn't home or she fed them other things on the weekends. This morning, I was helping Lola make breakfast, and then I got the kids ready while she brought their food out for them. As they were getting ready to eat, I noticed they didn't have forks, spoons, so I told Lola I would get them, and she said there was no need. I watched instead as she gave the kids tortillas that she ripped into pieces, and they were using their bare hands to grab the food using the pieces of the tortilla. I asked her what she was doing, and she should be giving them utensils, but she seemed shocked that I was concerned and said that that's how they usually eat. I told her that she was teaching them bad manners and making them think it was okay to just grab food with their hands. They're 2.5. Relax, chill out. She told me they do that anyway when they have chips or grapes or tacos and pizza, and listed a bunch of other snacks and fast food you eat without utensils. But I pointed out that those things are usually made to be eaten quickly or on the road, like fast food, so utensils aren't needed. She said I was being offensive by calling her way of eating gross and saying it was having bad manners. But I do think it's gross to see someone grabbing at food with their bare hands like that. They're babies. Oh my God forbid you travel to other countries where their main utensil is their hand. She said she grew up eating like that and would always use tortillas to make things like eggs or meat, rice, beans, and that it wasn't gross because she always made the kids wash their hands before they ate. I'm telling you, whenever the best food I ever had was food that my mom fed me from her hand. That, I don't know what it is about your mother's hand. When my mom would feed me like rice and meat and stuff, and she would grab it in her hand and feed me, it just tasted so good. And this guy's just being so judgmental. I ended up giving my kids forks for them to eat, which they didn't want to use, which made me even more frustrated with her because now they're used to this. It's not like she's giving them macaroni and cheese to eat with her hand. She was using tortillas. Like, what? Lola has been really annoyed the rest of the day and wouldn't let me help her with lunch. And earlier she was walking around the house speaking to someone, probably her sister, in Spanish about me, and I'm starting to feel a bit annoyed. So, am I the asshole? I, 40 male, started to cheat on my wife, 38 female, but stopped halfway through. Do I still tell her? My wife and I have had a great relationship. I can't say I have any real complaints. We have been together for 5 years, married for 2 of those, and up until now, I would have said I would never stray. You're not making your case for you strong, buddy. I was away for work last week, and while I was in the hotel, a young woman, 21 female, sat next to me and began to flirt with me. I have to admit, it was a real ego boost to be flirted by someone so young. I started to get that middle-aged dad bod and have been feeling like I'm losing my looks a bit. After a bit of talking, the woman invited herself back up to my hotel room. For me, it was all about the thrill of being desired by someone other than my wife, especially by a very young woman. I was slightly drunk and I figured I'll probably never get the opportunity to sleep with a 21-year-old again. But the thrill wore off very quickly as I realized that I wasn't enjoying myself. This girl was not good in bed. She basically just laid there and starfished. Sometimes she would pull herself into what she thought was a sexy pose, but that was it. She didn't seem interested in me at all. I might as well have been a human dildo because she seemed more interested in herself and how sexy she thought she was. Sleeping with my wife has always been amazing. When I'm with my wife, she's all over me, talking to me and telling me how hot I am, grabbing me, touching me, getting on top, and so on. I feel like the hottest guy in the world when I'm in bed with my wife. With this girl, I felt like I could just leave the room and she might not even notice, let alone care. She seemed like she just wanted the ego boost of a guy finding her attractive. I couldn't stay aroused and I stopped about 10 minutes into it and asked her to leave, which she did. I just took a shower and then called my wife to hear her voice. Now I'm back home and so far I haven't told my wife about any of it. There's a guilty part of me that says I should because she deserves to know, but another part of me says, why should I torpedo our happy marriage and cause her pain for something that I didn't even enjoy and will never do again? All it did was prove to me that I want my wife more than anyone else. I want to do the right thing, but I genuinely don't know what the right thing to do is here. I know that I will never ever stray again. Should I tell her or keep it to myself?
Am I the asshole for not wanting my boyfriend to marry his second cousin? My boyfriend, male 24, and I, female 22, have been together for 2 years. We live in Canada, but he's a second-generation immigrant from India, so they believe in arranged marriages. His parents are therefore unhappy with our relationship, especially since he's Muslim and I'm Christian. My boyfriend is very, very critical of this sort of aspect of South Asian culture and has committed to marrying me. However, his mom, female 47, had been in talks to arrange him with his second cousin, female 20, who lives in India. As per his mom, the two of them would have been a good fit for each other. His family doesn't believe in forced marriages, so they would have a chance to meet for a while and actually decide, but not date in the conventional sense. Unfortunately, tragedy struck and his second cousin is now terminally ill. As per tradition, it is considered wrong, I guess, to die without ever being married, assuming you're of age. So the second cousin really wants to get married, but of course no one wants to marry someone who's dying. She also does not want to die a virgin, and while being a religious Muslim, she of course won't have sex outside of marriage. So my boyfriend's extended family has been trying to get him to marry her for the end state of her life. He explained to them that he's with someone else, but they're telling him that he doesn't actually need to marry her and it doesn't even need to be legal, to just do a religious marriage so that she can die with honor as a married woman and have marital experiences. My boyfriend refused, but the pressure is getting to him and he's considering accepting, saying that he feels really bad for her and that she shouldn't have to die like this and that he wants to do a favor for the family. But really, I feel that as sad as this is, it's not his problem, nor should I have to lend out my boyfriend.